All right. Welcome all of the East Central junior and senior families and parents. My name is Stan Gillespie. I wanted to share this presentation with you to give you a quick recap of some information we shared in credit recovery classes this week. The administration team decided to be proactive this year and get ahead by um, giving as much information to current juniors and some juniors that are in credit recovery and then seniors as well, with hopes that this will help in reducing any last minute graduation hiccups because ultimately we want students to be successful, and that starts with being proactive and creating a culture that is um, positive. So that being said, we collaborated with the counseling team to create some graduation updates, requirements, and some need to knows on recovering credits. So first and foremost, obviously, summer school is the best option to um, recover classes, but if not, you might have noticed that there's a credit recovery class in your student's schedule. And what this means is they'll be in a computer lab working on recovering classes they might have missed um, over the last 3 years. Um, we got a lot of positive, responses when we went into the classroom. I'm going to show you by sharing my screen uh, quite a bit of information, but just to start, here is kind of what we look at when administrators and counselors are working with um, seniors. So, with hopes that you all know this, if not, this is the information. The minimum credits you need to graduate is 22. That would be four Englishes, three maths, algebra, geometry, and then advanced math. Science is biology, integrated physics, or IPC, and chemistry, and then another advanced science, social studies, world history or world geography, US history, which is a star tested subject, US government, which is a semester, economics, which is a semester, and then two of the same languages. So Spanish 1 and Spanish 2 would be a requirement that would be met, or ASL 1 and ASL 2. And then we need 1 full year of a PE or a sport, 1 full year of a fine art, and then five total electives. Like those are the fun classes, things that students want to learn more about, such as construction or band and so on like that. And then there's five star scores, and this was information that we gave to the seniors and juniors and credit recovery classes that we cannot graduate students without these five pass. It's English 1, English 2, biology, algebra 1, and US history. Okay, so that's the basic. Then you can graduate with an endorsement. It's called distinguished. And there's a couple different paths. There's public service, which is like law, um, health, science, education and training, ROTC, arts and humanities, which would be your languages or any fine arts, or social studies, if you take 5 years of a social studies, multidisciplinary, which is four advanced courses in um, English, science, math, and social studies. And then on top of that, we strive for students to take at least one AP class, advanced placement class. That would be distinguished. The difference between the 22 credit plan and 26 is this class right here, Algebra 2. That is a key class that we want students to be able to have the knowledge to pass. And it automatically, right here, if you see that, students must earn distinguished level of achievement to be admitted to a Texas public university under the top 10%. So it's very important that they get that Algebra 2 class and those extra four electives to make an endorsement. So this was kind of the information we shared with the credit recovery students. Now, just to give you an idea of how many students we actually reached, I blocked out their names for confidentiality to see their IDs. But this is just, there's 49 students for one counselor. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then Cass, which is our magnet school, Ms. Gooch, she doesn't have quite as many, but you're looking at about 50 times 7. That's quite a bit. That's 350 students. So that's why we're working and being conscious of the students we target and the time we spend in the classrooms to reach these students, with hopes that they can pass the credit recovery classes and get out and take a fun class or whatever that student might be interested in. Some questions that students brought up regarding this plan and credit recovery was, how many credits do I need to go from a junior to a senior level? That was one of the main questions, because if you notice on your schedule, right now, some students are still listed as 11th grader, even though they're a senior. Well, the state law says you need 18 credits to be classified as a senior. So without those 18 credits, you're still classified as a junior. It goes up in increments of 6. That being said, credit recovery is a great resource if needed to get those credits back as quickly as possible, and we can change the grade level to make them a senior. So that is one kind of aspect of the students we reached and kind of what was talked about. Now, there's other things that was spoken about, like, how do you get onto senior trips? Well, you have to be out of credit recovery. We as administrators cannot really let students be in senior happenings if they still owe credits or they owe hours. Another thing is, let's be proactive this year and talk to your students about being to class on time, because after 5 minutes, they're marked truant. And if you accumulate 9 truancies per class, you lose credit. Doesn't matter if they have 100 in the class. It's a state law that the students have to be in class 90% of the time. So that being said, maybe that's one of the reasons in the past they have lost credit. So those are some things to think about. This was a very informative lesson. We really dug deep into, why are students sitting in this computer lab and working on Edgenuity classes. Something that also students are not aware of, or they might not have been aware of, is that they only are allowed to take 2 classes at a time. Well, some students owe more than 2 classes. So please be on top of your students at home. They can log in and work on Edgenuity at home and take the test in front of the teacher in that period. But the sooner they make small progress, the sooner those classes are done. A lot of students wait to the last minute and then they miss out on senior activities because they have to recover classes. Or, I'll give you an example of the presentation we shared, but there's some really cool things that students can be a part of. So let me show you from last year. All right. And then so last year students were able to go to SeaWorld and Aquatica. It was $10. It was not an expensive fee. And that was an opportunity they were given, because they completed all the requirements, right? So that's a motivating idea. that we want students to kind of strive to achieve when they are working every day. They also can do something called a senior walk, where they go to the old elementary schools that they might have graduated in. Even if your student didn't go to an East Central elementary school, you can still have them take part of it, and it's a really great opportunity for them to, uh, motivate the youth, as well as the youth is kind of looking up to them. So it's a win-win situation. So I wanted to show you some kind of pictures from last year, and just talk to your kids, your kiddos about these kind of rewards, so to say. So let me zoom back here in a second. Oh, all right, cool. So let me share this screen again so you can see. All right, so they were able to go on a senior trip last year, and then this is kind of what we talked about, the senior walk, and they go back to the old elementary school. And I mean, and so ultimately the goal is to get to graduation, um, and it takes just constant work. It's not going to be easy, but if we are all on the same page and everyone's knowledgeable, we can make this happen. Um, so this information has been given to every student in credit recovery, and some other questions that arose from students themselves is, how do I get senior option? Now that's another question that's really motivating. Senior option is when you can leave or come to school late first period and not have a first period, or leave early and not have an eighth period. A couple of things that you have to think about. One, you have to have those 26 credits. Two, you will need to talk to your student about taking the TSI. The TSI is like a Texas version of the SAT. And the idea is students have to be college ready. And the TSI is a measurement that compares your student with all students across the state. And there's a benchmark for universities. If that student scores high enough, they're deemed college ready. And that would be an option to consider for senior option. You have to take the TSI and have 26 credits. Both of those would be something that would be helpful to accomplish in credit recovery, definitely. So I hope this is a great resource for you all. We wanted to make sure you had this in front of you, and be proactive before the school year gets started, really, and students are working. So if anyone has any questions about it, you can reply back to this video via talking points, or email um, any of your assistant principals or counselors by Alpha, and we'll be glad to clarify any other questions.